Hey everybody, welcome in for our second demo of the day and Q&A session. We have Dan, Lee, and his mom Ying here with us, and we are going to be using some Sanbao underglaze decals. We are going to be talking about their product. Dan's going to tell us a bit about the company and everything and their history, and his mom, who's a lifelong potter, is going to be joining us to answer any technical questions that we might come up with. And I'm going to do a quick little demo before we're done, just showing how I like to use the underglaze decals. Now, many of you know that I have a few designs of my own, like my Scandi Birds that you can get from Sanbao, so you can go get my underglaze decals. This one right here is a retro floral with my Chun blue on top, so you can put a clear glaze on it, you could put a celadon. I like to stay with zinc-free glazes. And I'm going to show this little folder that has, they have a lot of products, not just the underglaze decals. They have overglaze decals, which I have used here on this little plate. They have brushes. You guys have a lot of things, so I'm sure Dan's going to clue us in on everything they have. And Dan has generously offered 4 $40 gift cards for 4 lucky winners because it's Clayshare's 4th birthday, so we're sticking with the 4s. And hey Dan, how you doing? I'm so glad you're here with us.
Excited to be joining you guys.
Yeah, I tell you, I love your underglaze decals. They are amazing. And I think some people are just recently discovering them. It's kind of like this new aha product for them.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I would love to know more about what got you all started in the underglaze decals and as a company.
Yeah, the underglaze decal has been in the Chinese pottery scene for a very, very long time. And we use it with traditional patterns. And usually we use it to, dress up potteries and plates. And we started reintroducing our underglaze decals at NCCA maybe about 15 to 20 years ago. And we had very traditional Chinese patterns that was printed for our, our potters that kind of did pottery in China. And over the last 5 years, I kind of stepped in the business and I kind of started designing because I come from a design background and I went to school for advertising. So I started designing more modern patterns that kind of tailored towards the North American potter palette. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, they're great. And every time I check, you have more new patterns out and more things to try. Tell me, you got these new summer patterns out this year that are coming out, or they're actually out now, right? You can get them.
Definitely. Yeah. We try to come up with patterns just in line with the season. During the summer, I feel like everybody want to do their pottery, have a more rich, vibrant colors, have a little bit more flavor, a little bit more pizzazz into it. So we want to launch these summer patterns. And, when summer's over, when fall comes, we're going to have fall patterns. We're going to have some Halloween patterns and Christmas patterns. Yeah. So every type of pattern for every occasion of the year.
So you are in advertising, more business, but your mom's more art, right? Because she's a lifelong potter. Right. And so she must have influenced the company and the direction of it and, the patterns that you pick and the ways you use them, right?
Yes, definitely. I can let my mom speak up on that.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from your mom. So hi, Ying, nice to meet you. I'm glad you're joining us here.
Thank you. Yes.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about your pottery. What got you started in ceramics?
Yeah, when I was in China and I went to the Decal and the studio, so I funded the Decal studio and I use them. So since that time, but Decal in China, you can use Chinese potter use the Decal. You can trace it a few hundred years ago. So people really like that kind of blue and the white porcelain mostly uses the decal to decoration the surface. So that's why.
Yeah, I love the blue and white. It's very traditional. I think it's the thing we recognize first for underglaze decals is the blue and white. But now with the modern decals, I have this one design you have, the Sanbao design that is the little dogs. Like all the dogs, and that is so fun. And I love that, it's using this really ancient tradition of the underglaze decal in a modern way and bringing it forward and introducing it to modern potters.
Right.
And creating like these really great pieces that really almost anybody can do.
Yeah, because Dan take the business and his background is designer, so that's why he have more that kind of knowledge to fit this time.
Yeah, and he's got some great designs. Yeah, he has amazing designs. Well, you know, we'll have to have you come back because I want to see some of your pottery. You'll have to come and share, unless you have some there you want to share with us.
Yeah, not here because I'm in Florida, West Palm Beach. I'm teaching them, and the Armory Art Center teaching the pottery.
Oh, okay. So we'll definitely have to plan the next time we do something. Have you come on? Maybe you'd come teach something with us.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
It's too hard.
So do you have a favorite decal pattern for yourself? Do you have one you like the best?
I like all the decal, but the problem is how you can use the decal. So, for example, depend on what kind of shape, what kind of purpose you use.
It does. It really does make a difference what you're using for a shape.
Right. So it just depends. Each looks like each decal, each pattern have their own language. How you can play them, how you can talk to them, that is important.
Yeah. I agree with you completely there. The shape dictates the pattern.
Right. So you can cut them and play around your parts. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I've seen some really cool things. So some folks are saying for Dan that they love his designs. They'd like to see more wildlife under glazed decals, like mountains and bears and forest woodland creatures kind of things going on. And a lot of folks are loving the blue and white traditional. And I did one, I don't have the piece here, but there's a blue and white lace design that they have that, Dan, you did. Oh my gosh, that one. I've got the decal here. I've got remnants of it because you see, I use it so much, but I love this lace one. This is one of my favorites. And I love the big sheets you're doing. I have, the big sheets have been kind of amazing.
Yeah,
because they can go.
It makes them very convenient to wrap bigger pots, to wrap bowls, to wrap, mugs.
I mean, you can make a platter this big.
Yeah, definitely.
You can just go. So I have, I really like to play with patterns and mix them up and put two different patterns together. And I thought it would be fun. I was going to do a quick, and we can all ask you questions. Well, I'll do a little demo and show people how to use it. And people can ask me questions. I'll relay them to you and to your mom if they have questions for your mom.
Oh, great.
So
awesome.
I'm going to grab, I made some plates. I just did some quick little slab plates, and you can use these. This is a leather hard piece. You can use them on the wet clay before you even shape it. Oftentimes I'll do that because your decals will conform and fit the shape, and they don't smear and come off, which is kind of amazing. This, I believe, when I made this one, I put the decal on first, and then I cut the shape out and pressed it. So a little press plate, but the decal doesn't smear, and it's really, really, really handy. So I've got two that I picked out. You have a couple of roses. You have this little one, the small red rose, the little like red flowers. And then you have the bigger, more ornate like roses for the garden. These right here. So I thought I would use the two of them on one piece, kind of mix them up, right? The two patterns and see what happens. Just gonna watch and like, oh, what is she gonna do, right? So I made these with GR Pottery forms, and this isn't about GR Pottery forms because we're going to talk about those later, but I like to use the forms as a template for cutting out my underglazed decals so I don't waste my decal paper while I'm working on it. So people are saying that you have a lovely line of decals. They love them.
Oh, thank you so much.
I have to agree. I do a little bit of design on the side, but not professionally. Like that's not my main thing. And every once in a while, they're like, I should do some more patterns for underglazed decals. And then I see what you have. And then I'm like, I don't need to do any new patterns.
But everybody loves your pattern. Those Scandi Birds pattern. Oh my gosh. People can't get enough of them.
I'll do this. I'll do a Scandi Bird quick. And I could we'll talk. I might do a few more for you. We'll see for the autumn. Get some, now that I've moved further into the mountains and more into the wilderness with all kinds of critters and stuff living here, maybe I'll do something more seasonal. All right, so I just traced out that shape, and I'm going to cut out from the underglaze decal. Make sure you all have a good view. And, you know, I can cut it exact, because what I want is I want this to fit in the center. And I'm sorry, I did not bring my craft scissors. They are still in my other studio space. So I am using our first aid scissors. This is why you have a first aid kit in your studio, because when you leave your good craft scissors at home, you can use these. So do you find that you like to apply the decals to leather hard clay more than, say, bisque fired or wet clay?
It's wet clay.
You like to put on wet clay best.
Wet clay, so you don't need to add any water, just
lay it on and it goes and it transfers.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest way to apply them, but the beauty of the underglaze decals is they could go on at any point, right? We could put it on, I put it on bisqueware.
Yes, sir.
But wet clay is the best. Or what about slip? Would you recommend using slip to help?
Slip, yeah, yes. Just let it slip a little bit dry, and not dry. So then you put the top of the slip, yeah.
And then it just comes, you just smooth it on and it comes right off. You don't have to introduce excess water.
No, that's really interesting. If you do on that slip, you different color slip, and then add the decal. It's really interesting to apply them.
Yeah, so someone could do, even if they want to do multiple colors with slip underneath the decal.
Yeah, even slip or underglaze.
Right, and we were just talking with Speedball, and so you could go ahead and use Speedball underglazes. So I've cut this out here. That's going to go in the center of my plate, right in here, so it'll fit right down in. And if you didn't want to do a decal, I'm flipping it over. I just laid it in there to show everybody at home. And don't use first aid scissors. That's just what I had in the studio. And so that's what I was stuck using. But this is a plate I made yesterday. I let it sit lightly covered overnight. Now it's leather hard. I would have probably done this before I even made the plate and applied the decal, but this way I can control completely where it goes. And so we lay it on, smooth it out, so it fits down in the flat of the plate. And then I'm going to take a damp, clean sponge, because we have to transfer it, right? We have to get that underglaze off the paper, and we need something to do that. So we have to use water. And this is why wet clay is better, because you don't have to do this step. So how would we use it with slip? You know, I would apply slip first, and then I would, once the slip has dried, so it's no longer tacky, where if you touch it, it doesn't leave a fingerprint on it.
Right.
Then I would lay the underglaze decal on, right?
Yes.
And then you just smooth it on. You don't need to use a sponge. You just use something to smooth it. I like to use my yellow rib. Yeah, soft rib would work great.
Right.
So I have a yellow one here.
After the red one is the best one, because the red color is so soft.
The red is my favorite. I've misplaced mine.
Okay.
Does that happen to you with Potter? I misplace my tools all the time in the studio, but I agree.
Soft.
The red one is the best.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just tapping this on, and then I will smooth it. And you can check to see how you're doing. Let me grab my needle tool. And so you can see how the transfer is coming along, but it does transfer best to a wet clay, not a leather hard. Mm-hmm. Maybe we could do one with a slip quickly. And so you can leave this on here. And if you wanted to do your border in a underglaze color, you could paint that on now. That way you don't make a mess and get into here. Or we could put the other pattern on it. I was going to put the other pattern on, but looking at it, I think I'm just going to do the border. I just think it'd be too busy. So I'm going to go ahead and put some red on.
That's a good idea.
So, yes. So red, you know, one thing I've noticed, red Speedball, all of Speedball's colors match Sanbao's colors. So if you're looking for an underglaze color that matches, the Speedball ones match the Sanbao perfectly. So I found the reds are just the best match. This plate right here, it's not glazed yet, but the reds are the same exact tone. So if you want a perfect match, check out Speedball's underglaze. And I'm just going to brush this on the rim. And so this is finishing the rim of the plate. Now I don't have to go back and add color later. I just can put a glaze on top. And I don't have to be neat about it. I can be messy. And it can get onto the underglaze sheet because, look, I could do this. Because that's working as a resist. So you could actually do multiple layers of underglaze decals and use them as resists if you wanted to. So we'll put this on. We're going to let it set for a few minutes just before I peel it off because I don't want to disturb my red rim. But let that be, and we'll peel off a sec. Let's grab it. We'll grab a little one while we're doing this. So a bunch of people just ordered Transfer Sunday. They can't wait to get them and try them. It's very exciting. And so you just did one with the trees, using the trees. And so underglaze, it's better to wait until the underglaze dries, or is it okay to put it on moist underglaze? So would you say, is it better to wait for it to dry, or can you use on moist underglaze?
Dry, as long as not stick your finger.
So yeah, just like if you touch it with your fingertip, and if it leaves a little impression, a little stickiness, then it's not ready for you to do that yet. So I've got a few others here we can use. I've got my Scandi Birds. I also have the mushrooms, which the mushrooms are really fun.
It's beautiful.
So thank you. Either of these would be good. The mushrooms are they're just really fun. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the sheet a little bit. And again, I don't have I like to use some good craft scissors to cut with, but today I don't have mine. So you'll have to excuse my poor cutting skills with these. These will cut through bone though. So if you need that in the studio, you're set. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll use the mushrooms. We're just going to push them on. And I'm going to start from the center and work my way out. So if this was a wet sheet of clay, we could just lay it on that wet sheet. And then you cut out your shapes and make. So do you all have questions? What are some common issues that come up when people are first starting to use the underglaze transfers? Some of the common problems.
One of the problem I get a lot is after the customer fired the underglaze transfer, the image might look a little bit smudged, and it has to do with the glaze that they're using. Sometimes the glaze they're using is a little bit too soft, so the glaze is pulling down on the underglaze ink while it's being fired. So some of the solution could be use a harder glaze, or if you have a glaze that's very soft, dilute it with a little bit of water, and you'll resolve the issue.
Okay. And someone's asking, do you ever have any problems with the underglaze decals like being eaten away, looking like they've like some of the glaze has pulled it away? Or is that what you mean, like the softness of the glaze can affect that?
It looks a little bit smudged. Yeah. And
okay.
Another thing is I remember the last time you did a demo, you kind of briefly touched on the shelf life of underglaze transfers, and they do have a shelf life for them. The cobalt blue one, that one will expire the fastest. So if you purchase them, it's recommended to use it within 3 to 6 months. But all the other colors, if you store it properly, they can last a little bit over a year. So when your underglaze transfer is not sticky anymore, chances are they might have expired. Because
Okay.
one of the key ingredients for our underglaze transfer for it to stick to the pottery is actually honey. And honey does have a shelf life. So once the honey is gone, then it's not going to stick anymore.
So you can check to see if your transfer is coming over the way you want it to. And if not, you can stick it back down and tap it some more. And we'll go ahead and just peel this one off. So you can see the little mushrooms on the transfer. I've got them all over the plate. Super cute little mushroom dish. And then this right here, you just dispose of. So I didn't know they had honey in them. That's crazy. In a good way.
Yeah.
I think that's great. So there's the mushrooms. We could quickly do the Scandi Birds too while we're at it. Why not? And the thing I like about the Scandi Birds and the mushrooms too, actually a lot of your designs, and I know my designs, like the snowflake one, you can cut the snowflakes out. I could put just one snowflake on. So you could buy the sheet and you don't have to use the whole sheet. You could just use 1 or 2 decals out of the sheet. So they can really go a long way, like as just an accent for a piece. So can these go to cone 06 is the question. So what temperature will these decals fire to?
Usually fire from 04 to 11. Yeah,
Okay.
if you want to go to 06, just try, see what's going on. I think that, yeah, you can work in 06.
Okay, so yeah, 06 should work.
Yeah,
So give it
under the glaze, so I think it's will be safe.
So do it. Always do tests, but yeah, these I use them at cone 5, cone 6, but I know other people have used them successfully. They go to cone 10. Some people do low fire, so you're not limited with these. Now I'm doing a fancier cut because I want to just use a section. Let's see them. So how do you store them properly? Do you just keep them in a folder in a drawer?
It's best way to store them and put in the zip plastic bag. Yeah, just no more air to touch the decal.
So I didn't know that you didn't want the air to touch it. So keep them in a Ziploc bag.
Right. That is important. That let them dry. Don't let them get the damp.
So don't let the air get to them because I guess the air dries out the decals and then they don't. Yeah, they don't work as well.
Yeah, I have some decal already 3 years, still working perfect.
Yeah. So we were talking about the shelf life by putting them in the bags. That really prolongs the shelf life. Mm-hmm. So everybody out there, save them. So we have a question. Sometimes my decals don't come off completely, so only part of the picture is on the pot. You mean sometimes it doesn't transfer all the way? So what could be happening if someone's having problems and their decal's not transferring all the way?
Yeah, if you have this kind of problem, you just use on the wet clay. Yeah, maybe your decal is too long, keep them too long, and or on the after the basic firing, do it on the wet clay. It's perfect, will be.
Yeah, do we have time? I might grab a piece of clay and just show you all how good of a transfer you can get because I'm working with clay that is leather hard and you do have to add water to it to get it to transfer. And sometimes doing that process, you can smear the decal or you won't get a good transfer. So that's something that can happen when you work at that point. But if you do work with wet clay,
it's beautiful.
It is. I do mugs with them when the clay is still wet and they are just gorgeous. They really are. All right, so I'm going to cut. I know this is very fiddly, the cutting away, and there's a lot of detail work to cut them out. But see, you could just say, I just want the birds and that's it, and put them on, nothing else. And so that's what I'm going to do right here. And if I want to, I can apply underglaze to the whole surface. So let's just get this off. I don't want that there. Like that. There. All right, so let's go ahead and stick these on. So I'll just have birds in the center. And then after that, I'll see if I can get a slab of clay and quickly roll it out while we answer. So this person used a tricolor transfer and a zinc-free clear, and it pulled away from the yellow flower, just the yellow. Do you think that the decal was too old? So I don't, it sounds.
Yeah, can you say again?
I will, sure. So this person used a multiple color transfer, a 3-color transfer, and the zinc-free clear that they used pulled away from only the yellow color. And so do you think it could have been too old of a decal?
Not sure. I think
That what that would cause that to just one color.
Yeah, multiple color, that color pretty stable.
So the multiple colors.
Yeah, have not this kind of problem. Yeah, I use lots.
So maybe test that again and see what's going on. It might have just been your glazing or something. So can you use them on bisque clay?
You can use it on the bisque clay. Yeah, after bisque, after bisque, if you use it on the bisque clay, you need lots of water.
Lots of water, and they sometimes smear a little easy.
Yeah, so it's best way to use it on the leather heart or the wet clay.
Yeah, the leather hard's a pretty good option, but I do think wet clay is the absolute best.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and see if I can get a good peel on this one. And can they be used on any clay body?
Any clay body, yeah, you can use.
So any clay you want to use.
Right.
I'm using a B-Mix, which is Laguna clay, which I really like, but you can use it with any clay you want. So let me find the edge somewhere in here.
We have even had customers use our decal for polymer clay design, which is really interesting.
Polymer clay.
Yeah. So they apply on polymer clay and then they apply a UV coating on it afterwards so the decal wouldn't rub off.
That is so cool. I didn't even think you could use it on that, but yeah. So here's my decal peeling off. Let's see if you can all see. So the cutout stayed. Just put that off to the side. So this is a decal cutout, it's called. And if you're familiar with the painter Matisse, he did cutouts. You could just do abstract cutouts if you wanted to. And then, you could put your underglaze patterns on and then paint a layer of underglaze color, right? So that's that one. Let's try this bigger one. I let this sit for a little while. Now, have you found that if I let this sit too long and it dries out, the transfer, I have to get it wet again to get the transfer to actually happen? At least I've noticed that it dries back onto the paper.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to get it wet again. That should reactivate it, right? And I shouldn't have any problems peeling it off. We're going to find out. I let it sit too long. I meant to pull it. I'm sorry. I meant to pull it right away. Kev, you have to keep an eye on the camera. If I'm off, let me know. Thank you. There. So am I going to use a transparent glaze? Yes, I will be using a transparent glaze on top. Yeah, that's my plan.
Yes, actually, any kind of translucent glaze or celadon you can use as long as they are translucent. Yeah, sometimes I use a different celadon, different color celadon. It's beautiful. All depend on the color and the pattern.
So we got a really, really nice transfer here with the
beautiful.
Roses. And then I've got the red, I've got that rim. That's that pretty red rim. So that's that one. Let me grab a little bit of clay and I'll quickly roll out a fresh bit of clay so everybody can see, because I really want them to see that. It makes such a difference. It really does. And we won't do a big piece of clay because, So I see someone was asking, can you put any colored glaze on top of the decals? But you just talked about that. Any celadon or translucent glaze will work nicely.
Right.
So let's see, can you store them in the freezer?
Well, we have never tried, but.
I mean, I've never tried them in the freezer either. but I mean, I guess you can try it and see what happens. All right, so this is just a little bit of white clay that I'm using. And I'm just going to quickly roll out a slab. And this is how I would make if I was going to go ahead and make a little dish and I wanted to use the underglaze transfers. I would go ahead and put it on my sheet first. I would actually roll my slab out with my slab roller, but we don't have time to do that. So we're going to do it this way. I'm not going to get fancy. So can I put clear glaze directly over the decal and then fire it once?
Yes, you can.
All right. So yes.
Yes.
They're so versatile. You can do so much with them. I'm just going to smooth this out and let me show you this wet clay. Let me grab a sheet. We'll do snowflakes. Why not? It's summer, snowflake season. I'm just going to lay this directly on. And then normally I would use my red rib, but I don't know where it is. Story of my studio.
You're still in the moving phase. We're still getting everything together.
Exactly. So I mean, I don't have my good scissors, you know, but we make do. We go forward. We don't stop.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you all have better tips for me, but I just smooth it until the color becomes saturated. You know, when you first lay it down, it's a little faded, and then the color comes through the sheet.
Yeah, that's a
Does that make
perfect way to
sense?
do it. Yeah.
And then I just smooth it out. And once I know that, like once I see how rich the colors look, how dark they look, I mean, I can tell right here, this is lighter, that's darker. And then you'll do a peel and you get like perfect. It's really hard to mess it up. I mean, I don't think you can. And you get that full gorgeous sheet. And then if you wanted to make something, you can just go ahead and make this. I use this to do pressed plates. I cut out my mugs and I make mugs with it. I mean, you could do whatever you want with it, but you get this gorgeous sheet of decal transfer. And so when will you have more of the strawberry underglaze decals? You just tried twice to get them and you were sold out again last night.
That's the fruit of the summer, right? Those go pretty quick.
Strawberries are the fruit of the summer.
Yeah, right now we have some watermelon in stock for the new summer pattern, but the strawberry is probably coming back in 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, and Dan and I talked, I'm going to be getting some of the new summer patterns soon. And as soon as I get those, I'm going to go ahead and share them all with you and show you the new patterns because I'm excited to try some new ideas. I really like the idea of doing cutouts and layering and putting underglazes on it too. But look how great this sheet of clay looks. It's amazing. So you put your decal on your sheet first and then you make your plate. So we'll save this for something else. We'll make something with this in a little while. So any more questions do you all have? Because we've got Dan and his mom here and I don't want to miss out on this opportunity. So what happens if you use an overglazed decal and fire at cone 6? You notice the glaze transfers are fired at low temp, but you're at the mercy of your community kiln. Oh, so your overglazed decals, if somebody used them and fired it to cone 6, what's going to happen?
It's going to burn out. It needs to
burn out.
Yeah.
Only for the 018.
Okay, so they'll burn out. You have to fire them to 018 or just don't use them. If your studio won't let you fire to 018, then don't use them because it's going to not work. You're going to be unhappy. So what you need to do is you need to get these. You need to get these decals and use these because they will fire at any temperature. So your studio won't overfire your decals and cook them off.
Yes, that's right.
So how can you, wait, I see a question. How can you use wet clay, the decals? So now that I just put this on, I'm going to let it set for a minute because when we look at it, if you move this in the light, I can see a little sheen, just a little sheen, because this was really wet clay straight from a bag. So it's as wet as it's as wet as it gets, really. So you need to let this set up a tiny bit before you use it. I will usually roll it out, let it set for 10, 15 minutes. Then I go ahead and use it to make with, and it's not a problem. I have made with stuff straight away. What happens is you get a little color transfer onto, like if you're using a GR pottery form, but it's not so much that it disturbs the design, and you just wipe your form clean. So it's really not that big of a deal. And so what are we doing for Clay Share Day for Sanbao? We are giving away 4 $40 gift certificates. Are we ready to do that? And if people have questions for you, Dan, should I just email you?
Yeah, they could just email us at info@chinaclayart.com, and we'll reply to you within 24 hours.
Yeah. So their website is chinaclayart.com. They're Sanbao Studios, but it's chinaclayart.com. So don't be confused by that. And you can reach out, and Dan or his mom will get back to you, or somebody there will get back to you to answer your question if we didn't answer that here today. I've been using the Sanbao decals for a few years. Dan, you came on with ClayShare kind of at the beginning of starting. So you've been with us since
we've been on the ride together, Jess.
I know, we've been doing it together, and I can't believe we're already at 4 years, but we are. And to celebrate, we are going to go ahead and give away 4 $40 gift certificates for chinaclayart.com. So they can buy the decals. They can use it for anything on the website.
Yeah, they're hard
you
design.
Guys,
yeah.
whatever you want. Whatever you want. Have you been on their website? Because if you haven't, you need to go to their website. There's a lot on there. It is just set yourself aside like an hour, get a cup of tea, and just plan to look and dream at all the things on there, because there's so many patterns, so many products. You got brushes. There's a ton of things on there. You have to check it out. All right, let's give some stuff away. The first winner of the $40 gift certificate for Sanbao Studios, which is chinaclayart.com, is Forrest Grace. Congratulations, Forrest Grace. Yay! Woohoo! All right. Comments coming in. They love the new flowers and butterflies. Yes. And so Bettina says that sometimes she has problems with getting stuck to the wet clay and tearing. That sounds like she might be leaving it on too long if the clay is too wet.
Right.
So remove it sooner and you'll be good. All right. So the second winner of the $40 gift certificate is Sharon Bryant. Sharon, congratulations. You won yourself.
Yay.
Woohoo, Sharon. So you're not going to, well, actually the most difficult part is picking which ones you want. So what I do is just get them all. Just get all the ones you want, because you will find a use for them. I know I always find a use. If you're looking at a pattern, you're like, I don't know, but I really like it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Get it. Because what will happen is you'll get that pattern in and you'll be working in the studio and be like, this is the thing I'm putting that on. So get those patterns. I know it's happened to me because I saw one on there and I didn't get it. And I was working on something. I was like, it'd be great. The one I didn't get. So get the one. Get them all. All right. The next winner of the $40 gift certificate is Terry Hartman. Congratulations, Terry. And you won yourself that gift certificate. Woohoo! And all the winners will be emailed, and I'll email the winners info to Dan. So you'll get all this stuff. And the last winner for the Sanbao under glaze, well, really anything, gift certificate for $40 is Toretta Owen. Toretta, congratulations. Congratulations to all our winners. You guys are going to love everything. So we do have a ClayShare discount, so people can save if you didn't win. And that's listed on ClayShare resources, but I believe it's ClayShare 15. Isn't that
ClayShare 15, that's right. 15% off on everything.
15% off on everything. So if you didn't win, you can go there and go to chinaclayart.com and you can use ClayShare 15 and say 15% off everything. So how awesome is that? It's like a candy store. All right, everybody. Whew, Dan, thank you so much. This has been amazing. Huge thanks to your mom for joining us. She's a wealth of information. I would love to spend some time in her studio.
Yes, definitely. Congratulations on hitting the 4-year milestone. And hopefully, next year we can see each other at NCCA.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'll be there. If it happens, I'll be there. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us. We'll be back at 11 with Mako. No, at noon. Wait, what time are we at now? I'm off my schedule. What? We're going to be back. I'm sorry. I get a little confused. I got a lot going. We'll be back at noon, high noon, right, for Mako. All right. Thank you, everybody.